Thank you for stopping by and welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Camille and this is Camille's Dishes, but today I'm not making something of my own. Today I'm making Yeh'S Brunch Brisket. I've made it one time before and it's really easy, and the first time I made it was the first time I've ever made a brisket, so I think that you would find this recipe easy as well and be able to do it. And also I think it'd be a great dish for those who celebrate Easter and want something a little bit smaller if you're going to be celebrating with only your household. So let's get started on this. So today for my brisket I have a 2.1 pound beef brisket. This is from Walden Local Meat, which is a company in the Northeast, and they source all of their meat from local farms. It actually says exactly where it came from. The recipe was originally written, it looks like, as a slow cooker meal. They do have notes on the bottom if you want to cook it in the oven for 325 for 3 to 4 hours. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I did last time. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to actually slice this in half so that I can just have a better cook time and it will just cook more evenly. So the first step in the recipe is to sear the meat on both sides. We'll season it and then sear it on both sides. So I've got my cast iron going. This is a 6-quart Dutch oven. Just gonna cut this. Alright, so I'm just gonna cut this lengthwise this way so I have two pretty even pieces. It's just a fat line right here. Really like this recipe because it's more or less, you know, just cut up a few things, pour a few things in, and you're good to go. You're just gonna let it sit and let it get to temperature. Put a little bit of oil. Alright, so let's season these. This is a really fun little tip if you have pretty much any regular mouth ball jar. You can save the shaker top from your Parmesan cheese and reuse it. So I actually use one of these to water my plants, and a whole thing of kosher salt in here. The box came a little bit busted, so just pour it right in here. Great for all kinds of things. Hot enough? Okay, yeah, that's hot enough. So throw these in here. Oh, I didn't salt this side. Don't want it too salty. Season that up. All right, let's throw this right down. So we're just going to let that sear for 3 to 4 minutes. So you should really be able to hear that sizzle and see that sear on there. Alright, so our meat is seared. See, that's that fun feature of my stove. Gotta set this again. So I just shut it off for a second because I had to run and go get my mic. So I hope the first bit you heard me okay, because I don't have another brisket. So now for it, and I'm hoping you can hear me okay now. This is still sizzling very loud. So for the second step, I'm just going to actually turn this down a smidge. We're going to add the onions. Now I didn't cut these up too small because they're going to have a lot of time to cook down. So I have all my onions in here, and next we're going to add all of the other spices. So, I have fresh rosemary and oregano, thyme, and I'm not going to measure any of this. It's about, each one says about 1/4 to a tablespoon or a teaspoon. So we're just gonna eyeball this. Cayenne pepper. Crushed red pepper. Fennel seed. I like fennel, so we're gonna give it a few extra shakes. Ground sage. Ground sage. And the recipe is like dry, you know, different iterations. But to me, you know, I'm just going to use what I have. It's not that important to me to get it absolutely perfect. And I'm just going to mince up some garlic. And of course it said 1 clove of garlic for actually 3 pounds of brisket is the recipe. You can't just use 1 clove of garlic in my book. Alright, so we're going to stir this all in. And I also have the fatty part of the brisket on the bottom to help it render out better. So 1/2 cup of cider, hard cider. The recipe calls for 12 ounces and this is 16. We're going to loosen any brown bits. This will also help so my smoke detectors don't go off. The recipe does call for dry white wine, and what I chose for the cider is a dry cider because I just didn't want to get a wine. This has late season apples, local cranberries, and pink peppercorn. It's actually crafted in Massachusetts. So instead I'm just going to use a little bit of white wine vinegar. I know they're obviously not the same thing, but this is what I used last time, and this will kind of help break it down as well. It's just a little bit. And we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And now the remaining half of the cider. And there we go. I'm going to push this all down. And at this point, if you are making it in a slow cooker, this is where you would dump everything in your slow cooker and let it go. But for this, since we're not using a slow cooker, it's just going to go in the oven on 325 for 3 to 4 hours. So I'll check it at like 2.5 hours and see where the temperature's at. See the onions and the apples have melted down. They're a little bit thicker. Oh, that's actually a piece of fat. So they melted down really nice. So you have this nice sauce. I'm going to see if this needs a little bit more time. I'm going to get my... Oh, that's shaking a lot. I'm going to get my meat thermometer. Right in there. Oh, it's very tender. I can already feel it. Okay, so it's definitely done. Safe to eat. I'm gonna say we can pull this and maybe I'll cook down the apples and onions a little bit more later. Pull this out. These are the worst tongs ever. See, it's basically coming apart. This piece just came right off. Looks. And then this is the remaining. Give that a little taste. Oh yeah, that is so good. That's delicious. Alright, so I'm just going to cover this up and just let this cook down just a little bit more. Amazing. Yeah, just like look at that. It's just coming right apart. Lovely. So it's just coming right apart very easily. It's well cooked. There's a bit of fat on this. I'm going to put that back in the pot. Here. Cut that off. Let that cook down. Yeah, so there we have it. There's our brisket. And so our brisket is done. I think Molly Yeh'S recipe is really simple. There's very minimal prep work in the beginning, and then, you know, depending on if you're going to slow cook it or cook it in the oven, you know, you're still going to have that wait time, but there's really nothing to do except check it in between. And I hope you make this. If you do, or if you have made it, leave me a comment below. If you like this video, hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.